Hello and welcome to the shed. In today's video I want to talk about planned obsolescence in modern furniture. Hope you enjoy. The definition of planned obsolescence on Wikipedia is: in economics or industrial design, planned obsolescence, also called built-in obsolescence or premature obsolescence, is a policy of planning or designing a product with an artificially limited useful life or a purposely frail design so that it becomes obsolete after a certain predetermined period of time. So the first thing I want to talk about is the use of modern man-made materials in furniture making. Things like MDF, which is formaldehyde glue holding a bunch of dust together. And you've got particle board, which in this case is veneered particle board. And that is just small chips of wood that are once again held with formaldehyde glue. And both of these have their place in certain applications, but in terms of the longevity of a piece of furniture, these won't do it. For instance, if either of these get wet, it's going to destroy the piece of furniture. You're not really going to be able to repair it. Versus if you were using actual timber, at least you would have a chance of repairing that particular piece of furniture, and it should be good to go after you've done some sort of a repair on it. So you can see that just in the materials alone, the furniture that is made out of these materials is not going to last anywhere near as long as something like actual timber, which could last generations. Now that we've looked at the man-made materials, and yes, plywood does fall under that. However, because of the nature of plywood being actual timber and glued together in cross-grain sheets, that actually has a lot more strength and durability than these MDFs and particle boards. So now I want to move on and talk about obsolescence in terms of design. Now I've got an example of that right here with this drawer, and so I'm going to bring you in here and show you how planned obsolescence has been used on this drawer here and why it failed. So looking at this drawer, it's one that I've got from inside. The drawer fronts come off it. Now I just thought, it just fell apart, but when I took a closer look at it, I saw what was clearly designed obsolescence or planned obsolescence. Now if we look at this side here, on this one, I've got two dowels. It's doweled into the side here. Now obviously this particle board will break out eventually from a lot of pulling on those dowels, and we can see there was a couple of pin nails put in here as well, so that side was fairly well held. But if we look at the side over here, we have a mitre and a mitre there. So this side has no reinforcement. At least with those dowels, this drawer has some way of resisting the front pulling off. But the planned obsolescence to make this particular piece of furniture break sooner and for this front to fall off and hopefully throw it out and I'd go buy something else, because they rely on people not being able to repair things. This mitre here, as we know, with a particle board on particle board glue joint, it's going to be very weak. Even on actual timber, this sort of joint would be very weak. So you can see here that this has been designed and planned for it to break prematurely because it's just a straight glue joint on a mitre here to give strength to this drawer front. So if we compare that to something that I've made here, this drawer, we can see this has got dovetails. They go right through that piece of board there, and there's no way. Dovetails are specifically designed to withhold that pressure. Now, we couldn't make something like this out of MDF or particle board because it would just break. It doesn't have the strength. Now, you could make something like this out of plywood, and that would have quite a bit of strength. And plywood is one of the only man-made materials that kind of works for this sort of process. The other thing on that dowel side, that had the pin nails as I mentioned. There's nothing, no pin nails to reinforce that mitre on that side. And if it was just because of a mistake or something, you would at least see some pin nails in there to try and hold that joint together. So as you can see, it's clearly by design that this piece of furniture made out of materials that are not strong enough and being designed and manufactured in a way that it's not going to last. It's not going to be as durable as one would expect. So there you have it, folks. You can clearly see with the design of this, there's no reinforcement on that mitre joint, and it's clearly there and designed to make the drawer fail. and I believe that the dowels on the opposite end are there to give the drawer front a little bit of strength so it doesn't break sooner than they want it to break. Planned obsolescence is a real thing in modern furniture, and I think that needs to be considered what might be lurking under the surface of some of this pre-made furniture, although at a cheaper price point than making it yourself. Might be more expensive in the long run if it's going to break sooner than something that's more expensive that you build yourself, that you know is going to be using proper woodworking joints, correct material, and just designed in a way that's going to last and could last for generations and turn into an heirloom piece of furniture. So if you like this video and you'd like to see some more videos related to proper woodworking joints so the fronts don't fall off your drawers that you make, please check out the playlist down here. And if you like this video and you'd like to continue to support me, please consider checking me out on Patreon. And on one last note, I want to put a big thank you out there to my patrons on Patreon for your continued support. Bye for now.